What's up, guys? This is Bubba TV 24 Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare 3. This is my new review channel. If you came here from my Roblox channel, I want to thank you guys so much for doing so. If you are new here and you don't know who I am, I have a Roblox channel where I do Roblox tutorials, but I do play a lot of other games, and I have a lot of opinions about games, and so I decided to make a channel that does reviews and maybe some weird things in terms of shorts and maybe some other videos, but this is non-Roblox content, and therefore it goes on this channel. So let's talk about Modern Warfare 3. Let's just jump right into it. I'm a big fan of COD games, and I did enjoy Modern Warfare 2 when it first came out, even though it was a big change from the formula that they had kind of been doing. It was very slow, it was very sluggish, and then I started to hate the game. It was maybe a few months into it after I'd finished my Orion grind where they told people that they were going to be making movement changes to Warzone, and then they didn't. They lied about it, and I quit the game because they lied, and it was really, really bad at that point in time. That was maybe February of last year, something like that, February, March. It was right before Season 3, maybe into Season 2. And I think that what they were trying to do with Modern Warfare 2 would have been a very cool thing had it not been a Call of Duty game. They were trying this escape from Tarkov style extraction thing, and I just don't think it works for a Call of Duty game, even though I did kind of enjoy DMZ for the most part. I think that the problem is that every single one of these games that COD is trying to push out has an identity problem. Warzone is really not that much different from the base game, and I know that they're doing that on purpose to help people get into those games a little bit easier, but when you have something like DMZ, you really need to give it its own identity. Not to mention, they kind of just did a season update and then stopped supporting it entirely. And I think for a lot of people, that is something that is just gonna burn them, because I have a feeling that they're probably gonna do that with the zombies mode in this game. And speaking of this game, let's get into the campaign. The thing that most people say is the most unimportant part of a Call of Duty. However, if I ask you who Captain Price is, you absolutely know who he is. You know who Soap is. You know who Ghost is. Campaign is not the most important part, sure, but it is very, very iconic, and the people who play campaign love the campaign. We love the characters, we love the stories, and Modern Warfare 3, this game does not deliver on that story whatsoever. But before I even got to play the campaign, I had to go through a whole whirlwind of issues just even trying to get into it. So let me give you a sort of breakdown, because I did pre-purchase the game after the second beta, and just getting that week early into the campaign was a nightmare. So in order to do it, I had to start Modern Warfare 2, install the shaders, I had to accept privacy policy stuff, but then I had to restart the game because there were updates. And then once I restarted the game, I then had to finish installing shaders, which I was then able to go and find the Modern Warfare 3 campaign section. When I clicked it, it shut down Modern Warfare 2 and then started Modern Warfare 3, which I then had to go through and install shaders for again and restart again because of updates. Then I got to be able to play the game. Now, the game itself, the campaign itself, is a little bit all over the place. I feel like there's a tonal shift here that does not match the ending of Modern Warfare 2, because at the end of Modern Warfare 2, they are introduced to Makarov, and Makarov is a character that they say they have interacted with before, and if the Makarov incident that they're talking about, that they interacted with, is the same Verdansk one that is in this game, then the tonal shift doesn't make sense, because as soon as she brought up Makarov, they kind of looked at it and then looked at her and go, yeah, we know who he is. And then in this game, they're about to do a mission, and she's like, oh yeah, he's breaking out of prison, and they have a freak out and they cancel the mission and go after Makarov. And that tonal shift doesn't make any sense, because if they had interacted with Makarov before and they knew what he was capable of, and she's coming up to them and saying, hey, Makarov's doing a thing, they should have been freaking out then at the end of Modern Warfare 2, and instead they aren't. And instead, apparently they just got the information and said, yeah, okay, whatever, we're gonna go do another completely different mission. And then she's like, oh, by the way, Makarov got out. Oh my gosh, he's escaped, we have to go after him. It's a weird tonal shift. It doesn't make any sense. But then You have characters doing things that don't make sense. Gaz is defending General Shepard through most of the game, and it doesn't make sense. It makes Gaz look like a double agent, and it ultimately makes him responsible for the character death that happens later on in the game. It is completely Gaz's fault. But then you also have Alex, who is back, which was not explained between games unless you played the raids, which I don't think most people played the raids. And then on top of that, there's no like recap for it, so even for the people who didn't play it, they don't know about it. There is a lot of lore and a lot of storytelling, even for just the zombies mode, that happened during Verdansk, the original Warzone, where the very first 6 seasons of that game had cutscenes that basically told of the operations that happened in Verdansk and what happened to Zakayev and how he died. Zakayev comes back for zombies. No explanation. None that I could find outside of just a cinematic of where he just exists and he's got some scars. But that whole storyline happens in cutscenes that you have to go online to find now, that kind of thing. And it's apparently canon. But it doesn't make sense with Warzone what is and isn't canon. Verdansk was nuked at the end of Warzone to go back to 84 Warzone for Cold War. And yet that apparently is not canon because they decided it wasn't. So it's very hard to tell what is and isn't part of the lore of Call of Duty at this point in time. And it doesn't really make any sense. And honestly, you should bring back Mara at this point, because if your justification is that Mara was killed in a comic book, therefore she's canonically dead, well, yeah, Verdansk got nuked. So is that canon or is that not canon? Retcon the Mara thing. I want Mara back, darn it. Anyway, all that aside, the story is abysmal. The campaign is abysmal. The No Russian mission pales in comparison to the original one, and it is incredibly short. I tried to play the game the way it wanted me to play it. It took me about 5 hours. Most people beat it in like under 3, just under 3, because it's lazy. There are very few missions that are the sort of standard corridor linear missions. These are very open missions where what they did was they took Verdansk, like 3 or 4 different areas of Verdansk, plopped them down into the story mode, and then said, here are some objectives, go find them. And in some of those cases, you could just go right up to those objectives, maybe kill some dudes, and then finish them. The whole game, the whole campaign is very much a Warzone training simulator. That's it. It is not good. It's very lazy, and I'm very disappointed that this is what they're doing for Modern Warfare 3 and how they're going to treat Makarov, because really the majority of this game is tying up the loose ends from Modern Warfare 2. It is finishing Modern Warfare 2's story with Shepard and Graves instead of focusing on Makarov. Big disappointment. The other issue that I had with these open mission structures is that in order to actually access a lot of these different levels, you had to find different pieces of equipment. And we're talking like zip lines, the ascender for the zip line, different weapons and stuff like that. And it just really blows my mind that these guys are like Special Forces Tier 1 specialist operators, and they did not bring a zip line, but they always carry a parachute with them. It really doesn't make any sense that I have to go through an entire level to find a zip line. It's stupid. The whole thing is poorly thought out. But campaign was a wash. Awful. Let's go to multiplayer. What have they actually changed? Well, everything about movement has basically been reverted back to Modern Warfare 2019. As much as I like that, I do think it works, I think the biggest issue right now is just how lazy the multiplayer actually is in terms of the maps. If you ever played Modern Warfare 2 2009, you'll recognize every single one of the maps that are in this game because they are all just ported over from that game. They've been given a better coat of paint, but not that much better, because I don't think that this game looks all that much better than Modern Warfare 2. I think it actually kind of looks worse in some situations. The maps play well, but honestly, most of the maps are not good. Most of these maps were not good in 2009. Nobody wants to play Estate. Nobody wants to play Quarry. And I have been in lobbies where people have literally voted Estate over Rust, and I've left the game. No. If you vote Estate over Rust, you are absolutely insane. That map is awful. Most of the maps in this game are terrible, and even the map voting shows that that's true. The original game is looked at with nostalgia because the multiplayer I didn't think in 2009 was all that good, but now I think that it's okay, but the maps still are not very good. They still have the same issues that they did back then and the same reasons I disliked them back then. There are some of the maps that are just way too many hallways and corners and stuff like that, and people complained about it then, and it's still an issue now. People complained about it in 2019 when they released the oil rig and some of those maps. It was awful. These big maps that are like Quarry, that are big and open, have tons of like little nooks and crannies, they aren't fun to play in. They really aren't. Hardcore mode is here at day one. I like hardcore mode every now and then, and it's, you know, it's whatever it is. I do like that they're messing with experimental playlists and experimental features. They're adding in different playlists, like 24/7 variants of playlists. They have in things like this new war mode. It's actually a returning feature from World War II. It is only one map, but I will say that if you are a camo grinder, go play War. It is the best mode to get camos finished in. It's the best mode to level guns in. There are no kill streaks, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And so I just think that in general, it is the best map to level. That being said, there is only one map, and the map that they made is a stitched together variant of two different maps. The first map I think is like called Kandahar Hideout. It's from 2019's Modern Warfare, and it's an okay map. But then the second map, it's an escort map, and it is a map from the original Call of Duty 4 that has just been tacked on. It is nice to see it again. I did like this map, but it is kind of lazy. And then the final map is this underground bunker where you go and either dismantle these nukes or you don't. You defend against it. And it's okay. It's an okay mode. It is fairly fun. It's long because it does take a long time for one side to do anything if they aren't getting steamrolled. And then the game swaps sides. So you then start over from the beginning as either attacker or defender, or whatever the opposite was you were originally. And so that's pretty fun. Multiplayer, for the most part, the weapons feel fine. The unlock system is the worst part of multiplayer. The armory system is awful. The armory system is the thing that unlocks at level 25, and the way it works is there are special items in the armory system that you have to do dailies to unlock. And some of the dailies at launch, they've changed it now as I'm recording this, but I'm going to talk about it at launch. The dailies required you to use items from the armory in order to unlock those items from the armory. So for instance, I had a daily challenge that said to flashbang 2 people. The problem is the flashbang is in the armory, and I need to unlock the flashbang to use the flashbang. It was an awful idea. It seems that it's been kind of fixed now, but it still was a bad thing. It still sucks to even use, period. They have added in this thing now to where if you win a game, it gives you a point towards the armory. So it has sped up the unlock process, but it just felt like a system that was added in last minute to keep people grinding and to extend the life of the game or something like that, because it wasn't there in the beta. And typically the way that betas work is that you are getting a version of the game that was a previous version, obviously before what you're playing, or it's the version of the game that you're pretty much going to get at launch. And it felt like they just kind of added this one in at the very last minute. But the worst part about the armory is that this is how you also unlock a lot of the different weapons. There are 36 weapons in total, and 16 of them are in the armory, so you have to unlock the weapons through the armory, not just by leveling up. It's a bad system. I also feel that some of the maps are too big for a 6v6, Quarry being one of them. Quarry, I really think, should be a 10v10 game. I think Wasteland should be a 10v10, that sort of thing, but they could really do with a bigger mode, and I think they are actually thinking about doing that. I also don't think that some of the perks even work at all. Bone Conductor headset felt like it didn't work at all. It's supposed to to help you hear footsteps easier and stuff like that and tune out some of the chatter. But to me, it just felt like it didn't work ever. It felt like I was just hearing the same things. Okay, so multiplayer, pretty good, kind of lazy. Mechanics, still fun. I'm kind of having fun. They're also bringing in all the maps from Modern Warfare 2, so we will get Shipment. We already have Shoot House, those sorts of things. So those maps are going to come in. There are going to be a ton of maps. All of your progression from Modern Warfare 2 carries over in terms of the weapons, their levels, attachments, their camos, all that stuff. All of your items and stuff that you bought from the store are carrying over. Great. Those are all good things. Let's talk about zombies. So DMZ died so that zombies could survive. People who are looking for a more traditional zombies experience, a round-based thing with the story that's in the round-based thing, they're gonna hate this because this is not it at all. This is DMZ with zombies. That's what it is. And it is in the new Warzone map called Urzikstan, and it is literally just DMZ zombies. You drop into a map, you have 45-50 minutes to collect a bunch of gear and loot, weapons. You can work on camos, like zombie camos in there and stuff. You do missions to get money. You can pack a punch, all that. It's very much the Cold War zombies experience, but in DMZ. It is the big open world, and there are difficulty zones. There are higher difficulty zones you can go in and do, but that's up to you. And yeah, the story is all over the place. It's done through missions. It just kind of exists. Although here's the thing, I kind of like it. I actually do find it enjoyable. It's very chill. It's something that I've been kind of playing quite a bit of, and I'm actually having a good time while playing it. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the other zombie stuff, but I can understand that traditional zombies enjoyers are going to hate this. So okay, end of the day, we have campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and I'm not going to lie, they all kind of feel lazy. Is this a $70 expansion? I think it is to some degree, but does that mean that I am having a bad time? No, I'm actually enjoying the game quite a bit because the mechanics have returned to normal and I'm having fun doing it. The problem is that this cannot be something that happens every single year. This feels like a blunder. As much as it is a victory in terms of movement mechanics and stuff like that, this is something that should not set a precedent moving forward with COD. It should not do it at all, because doing this means that you're not creating really any original content at this point. You're just adding some new guns into the game. And if people are willing to eat that up, then they'll never make another full-fledged game again. They won't need to, because people will still buy it. So this needs to be a one-off. It needs to not happen again. So how am I going to rate these games? And this is something I want you all to weigh in on as well. Should I give it a number rating from like 0 to 10? Or should I do like a recommendation, like don't buy it, wait to get it, or just run out and get it now? So I'm going to give you both, and you tell me which one you like more. I think this game, on a scale of 0 to 10, is a 6. I think it's a 6 out of 10. I think the movement mechanics really bring it up, but because everything else is so lazy, the campaign was awful, zombies is okay, multiplayer is okay, but it's all copy-pasted maps that were not very good to begin with, I can't really give it more than just an above average. I think average is 5, and then it's just above average. This is like a 6. What is my recommendation? Should you go out and get it now? Should you wait? I think you should wait for it to go on sale, Christmas sale, something like that, then get it. Wait for it to not be $70. Wait for the game to go under $70 and then get it, if you're really looking to get into it, because I do think you'll have a good time, but I do not think it is worth the full price of admission. So that's where I'm going to leave it today. If you guys enjoyed listening to me rant and ramble about Modern Warfare 3, leave the video a like, and yeah, be sure to subscribe for more reviews and content. These are not going to be like a once a month or once a week or once a day thing. This will just be whenever I get to it, and if you like these sorts of things, be sure to leave a like on it, and like I said, subscribe. It helps me out, and I will see you guys next time. I've been Bubba TV 24 Reviews, signing out.